I'm good. I can't deal with Mario Logan theory right now. I can't deal with my epic cool Mario Logan theory. But what I can for some reason deal with is this. No, I don't think we might have watched this. I feel like we might have watched this, but he's got it on here. There's a person who's kind of known. People have bandied this name about in the same air as Dogs Eating Dogs 6. But he's not really. He is a YouTuber who has a very, very long video about Toy Story 4, but it's not very interesting. He's angry about Toy Story 4, but that movie does kind of suck, though. That movie blows, so he's got some reasons to be angry, but he's also not as angry or as comedically angry as Dogs Eating Dogs 6. He's a more, like, it's still a little much. He's unreasonably angry about something unimportant, but it's a lot less noticeable. But we did have some fun watching his, like, worst games ever list. I think he put, like, Mario 64 on there or something. Apparently his best game list is, he's somehow even more insane, I guess. That's interesting. I don't know how you do that. I mean, you'd think that would be a lot more agreeable for everyone. I mean, even if you don't like a game, it's like, okay, whatever, but apparently it's arguably more insane than his worst games list. So, it's 48 minutes. We might watch, we'll
Turns out, I can be a very
critical.
critical person a lot of the time. Two of my biggest series last year were dedicated entirely to tearing two horrible stories to shreds. And let me assure you, I still have plans for even more series of that type coming to a YouTube video near you later this year. But despite what you may think about me based on some of my most recent analysis videos, I do love a lot of games for a lot of reasons. But I don't often get the chance to talk about them because of the games I typically cover on the channel. But today, we're going to carve out some time to focus on the positives for a change, and highlight the best of the best that video games have to offer.
Okay, so I have to assume then that the games he picks as the best of the best are going to be... I mean, what? He's showing, like...
Focus on the positives for a change.
He's showing one of the new Halos. Is this, like, Infinite? I think this might be Halo Infinite. Is this one of the best of the best? Overwatch?
And highlight the best of the best that video games have to offer. Last week, I went over...
God fucking forbid that's like Halo 5, because I don't think it's Halo 4. So, the only acceptable option would be Infinite, and that's still not acceptable.
For the 20 worst games I ever played. And today, to act as a counterbalance to that video, I'll be counting off the 20 best games I ever played. Of course, if you know me, you already know a few...
Yo, is this the 3D Dragons? Okay, if this one's on here, that's pretty based. This game's great. Okay, Dragon's Lair, the original, is just a fucking garbage game. It's not a video game. It's just a cool animated fucking film that you can watch from Don Bluth. It's got great animation, but it's not a video game. It sucks to fucking play. It's terrible. It's terrible as a video game. Just watch a compilation of the death scenes and watch the, like, actual game's, like, story. I mean, I guess if you were in the arcades in the fucking 80s or whatever, it was, like, super innovative. But it does not hold up in any capacity now. This one, though, is great! This one is just a really good 3D platformer for the GameCube and the Xbox and shit. This game's awesome. This game's really good.
Games
this is a good pick. If this is on his list, it's based.
Are guaranteed to make an appearance here today. In fact, you may already know more than a few of them. But I still have some surprises to throw your way today. Games I've always secretly loved but never had a reason to bring up naturally in any of my videos or streams. Games I may have referenced once or twice but not often enough to stick in people's memories. Or possibly even games that I once confidently rejected from this list that have since snuck their way into a very special place in my heart. So be sure to stick around and see what I have to say.
Yeah, he uses these random clips from cartoons. Again, it's like a much more subdued version of someone like a Dogs Eating Dogs 6. It's not screaming in your face with loud music and weird memes you don't get and like fucking other people showing up and they've got like waifus with them. It's not insane. It's a little weird. It's a little like there's just a random clip from, like, I think that was Phineas and Ferb or something. It was one of those shows, like 2010s-ish. It probably made sense for him to include that, but it doesn't make sense to anybody else. It's not like a known meme outside of, I guess, maybe that community. I don't know. But it's just a bit of a it's the subtleties of like the strange meme choices and stuff like that you can tell something's a little off.
Just like with my top 20 worst video, I am restricting myself to only talking about one game per series, and I won't be using things like the Master Chief Collection or Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy to circumvent that rule. I have to commit to-
all of my modern videos still have Seinfeld GIFs. My streams would have Seinfeld GIFs if I could figure out a way to incorporate them, and they would be as low resolution and shit quality as possible. But people have seen Seinfeld, and Seinfeld GIFs that I use are usually related in some way. I don't know. I mean, usually they're visually related. It's clear, or they're just funny to look at in some fashion. Like it's Kramer doing a fucking weird thing, you know? So, I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to laugh when I see, like, this random clip of...
Top 20 worst video, I am restricting myself to only talking about one game per series, and
like,
I won't be...
well, whatever. It was like a clip from Phineas and Ferb or something. It was just like a guy on stage. He wasn't, like, doing anything really funny or anything. You know, it would be one thing if he was using, like, clips that were particularly funny, but no, it just seemed like a very mundane, random shot from that show. That's the thing.
Using things like the Master Chief Collection or Phoenix Wright...
If I use, like, a GIF of just, like, Jerry and George talking, and it had nothing but just, like, them speaking, and you couldn't hear it because it's a GIF, like, that would be weird. That would be kind of like that. I don't know.
Attorney Trilogy to circumvent that rule. I have to commit to one specific individual title. Though before I get to the main attraction, I first want to go over a few honorable mentions that I didn't have the heart to leave out of this video entirely.
Alright. Okay, you know, people like Beat Saber, it's a cool game.
Probably the simplest...
Okay, he likes Beat Saber, that's fine, that's fine. I hear the music, that's
custom
great.
songs.
Awesome, dude. You know, that does sound great. I never got any good custom songs for Beat Saber when I tried it. It seemed like it was all just EDM stuff. I couldn't find Dragon Force. But, you know, he likes Beat Saber, that's great. He likes the... What is this?
Look, it's not some groundbreaking racing game, but it's still pretty fun to play. It's kind of a middle ground between...
Oh, it's the Cars game. Alright.
Between a go-kart racer and a...
I've heard that it's alright.
More realistic one like Forza. It's got more grounded controls than Mario Kart, but without the hyper-realism and required braking precision of Forza. You can either follow the main story or just drive...
The Cars Pixar video game is the middle ground between Mario Kart and Forza.
Around the open world and explore Radiator Springs, Ornament Valley, and Tailfin Pass to your heart's content. I spent so much time as a kid literally just driving around and enjoying...
The video just freezes awkwardly for like 4 seconds. I don't know.
The sights during the day, evening, and nighttime.
I guess it's just it's just on pictures now. It like went from video footage and then just stopped, and now it's like doing a slideshow.
There's fun little mini-games along the way, small-scale road races, and grandiose Piston Cup races. Is it incredible?
Pissing Cup races?
No, but there's a lot of fun to be had here, and I still revisit it from time to time. And apparently you guys really...
Yeah, no, I've heard this game's not terrible. It's like, apparently, like, weirdly pretty good for what it is, the Cars game. I think the sequel games are also alright. It reminds me that there's a Toy Story 3 video game that's apparently surprisingly pretty good as well. Which, I mean, I've never even seen Toy Story 3, which I really should. I mean, I don't care about 4. I've seen enough from 4 to be like, okay, they did the Disney thing. But 3, you know, that one, I know that one's pretty good, apparently. I watched, that was my movie that I watched, like, 700 times whenever I would rent it. You know, I think every kid had a movie like that when they were, if they're like my age anyway, they had that one that they rented that they would just, like, restart. They'd watch it on repeat basically and have the whole thing memorized. That was the first 2 Toy Stories for me. So I really should see the 3rd one eventually, but I don't know, it's funny to just list Cars anything as a thing as your one of, even as your honorable mentions, really. I mean,
really like this one.
So just how many games have you played? I mean, I'm sure I don't want to take it away from you that you enjoyed it. I'm just it's okay. All right then. Seen the Kid Icarus Disney game videos. Oh. Oh god. I wonder what Japanese people think of this game. I remember, maybe somebody in chat knows. I brought this up before. I swear this game is a ripoff of another visual novel. There's like another... I think it's like, I think it might be like Umineko When They Cry or something. It's like another visual novel where like a character becomes self-aware and starts killing the other characters and stuff. And I swear that this game is just a total ripoff of that, but I looked that up at one point, because I saw that in like a Watch Mojo video or something, before Doki Doki Literature Club came out. And I'm like, and then I remember hearing the plot of this game and being like, wait a second, they just stole this from something. What the fuck was that? There's a lot of those VN. Oh, so this is just a common trope then. It's not Umineko, alright. Sayori, Monica, yeah, that's the names of them. Danganronpa? No, it's not that one. It's a ripoff of Doki Doki Panic. Right, that's true. Yandere Simulate? No. I mean, maybe it's, I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess it's a popular trend, I guess. Alright, well, you know, I don't know, it makes me wonder why you can't just play those games. I think I would rather play those games. I would rather play whichever one was the one that, like, made, that popularized and in-gooded that trend. You know, the good one that first did that trend. I think I would play that rather than this. But everyone likes this one, you know.
A work of pure genius from beginning to end for reasons that I can't say because of spoilers. Granted, I don't think there's anyone watching this that doesn't know what the game's all about, but even if there's just a 1% chance I'm wrong, I don't want to risk ruining it for anybody. Endearing characters, a beautiful
don't worry, I already did.
art style, and wonderfully catchy tunes all pull you along.
He named himself Trevor in the game. Trevor-sama! Oh, don't do that. Come on. Make up a fakey Japanese name for your fucking character. Come on. Don't call yourself Trevor. Trevor, why would you do that, Trevor? It's not like you just made up the name Trevor. We all know your name is Trevor now, dude. Nobody would call themselves Trevor in Doki Doki Literature Panic if they weren't fucking named Trevor, dude.
Long during the ride until things start going horribly awry. Take my word for it. You don't want to miss this one if you somehow have avoided it for almost 5 years. Just don't
Trevor-kun.
Play the Plus version. There's a lot of cool bonus stuff for fans of the game, like side stories, additional artwork, and a music player, along with brand new tracks, but the manner in which this version of the game presents itself can very easily ruin the experience if you get
everybody knows what happens in the fucking game now.
Just a little bit curious in the main menu.
These fucking these pieces of media that are entirely based around their fucking twist. It's like, oh my god, guess what? If that's the only thing that makes The Sixth Sense worth watching is the fucking I see dead people twist, then that movie probably just sucks a lot of ass. But I've heard that it's good if you watch it and you know the twist and you see the way that they build up to that. If the fucking twist is the only thing that I'm supposed to buy into, I don't know. It might be a pile of shit. I don't know. I can't speak to this one.
Of deductive reasoning, so take my word for it. Play the free version on Steam, and then if you like,
how to spell Trevor in DLC or in DLC Japanese, that would be like, I mean, no, my katakana is pretty bad. I mean, it would be Toreboru. It would be because they don't have a V. I mean, you could do like a B sound, or you could do like a V kind of thing with like a U and an I. You could kind of do that. So it would be like Toreboru. It would be great. It would fit in really well, you know.
Buy the Plus version afterwards to experience the bonus.
Yeah, someone's got it there. Someone's got it.
An absolutely beautiful game. Conceptually, it sounds boring. You're just walking.
Oh yeah, I guess it would be like Toreba. Yeah, it wouldn't be Toreboru. It would be like Toreba. That's right. Yeah.
Around the wilderness. But that's a testament to the breathtaking atmosphere and exceptional voice work from the two.
What is this? Firewatch? Okay, it's like a walking simulator. I mean, I've heard it's good. I don't know. I seem to recall some fucking, like, dig at Gamergate or something. I think this came out around that time, so, like, I don't know, that's a little weird, but it's to be expected.
This experience. Because fundamentally, it is a walking simulator. But I was jumping at the bit to explore every last inch of the forest, and the writers did an incredible job of making you connect with Henry and Delilah in just the opening minutes of the game.
The problem with the walking people talk about walking simulators like it's a bad thing, and I mean, like, it can be. I don't know, it's like, because if you look at a game like Myst or something, a lot of adventure games can broadly be described as just walking simulators. But, I mean, like, nobody's calling the fucking Longest Journey a walking simulator because, you know, there's, like, puzzles and stuff. I feel like a lot of these games don't really do that much in the way of puzzles. They're kind of more narrative-focused. Because I guess adventure games got a bad rap for a while, so nobody would buy a fucking game that had, like, buy it! It's a puzzle adventure game! You have to skin cats to make fucking mustaches! That is famously the worst puzzle in an adventure game. I think it was from, like, Gabriel Knight 3 or something. And the reason it's so bad is because you have to make a fake mustache to imitate a guy. But the guy you're imitating doesn't even have a mustache. So you have to make this insane leap of fucking wacky moon logic where you have to, like, skin a cat by having it walk under a fence with paint on it or something. And, like, you attach adhesive to it or something so that you can use cat hair as a mustache to fucking imitate a person who doesn't have a No one would literally ever think to do that. And so it's maybe understandable that some of these fucking games, they kind of started to, like, yeah, it's about the story. Just play it for the story. It's not about stupid puzzles. Don't play it for... Don't worry. It's not gonna be cat hair mustache. It's not. We promise. We promise. So, I mean, like, I guess I get it. I guess I get why Gone Home had to be that way, but I think I'd prefer something like a Death Stranding, where it's like, it makes the walking a mechanic. It's just a shame about Death Stranding's story ruining everything else in the game. So what a shame.
Backstory of this location and the history of the characters that get slowly pushed into the spotlight the further the game goes on had me enriched from start to finish, with two moments in particular being so haunting they sent chills down my spine.
I mean, I don't know, winning and losing conditions for a game, it's like, yeah, I guess. Who gives a shit, though? What does it matter? I mean, I don't think it needs to be quote-unquote a game. It's just like an interactive narrative thing. I don't think that's a problem. It's just that it also became a trend for, like, those types of people to make these types of games. So, yeah. You'd get a lot of super cool, no gameplay walking simulators about, like, gender identity in college or whatever. You know, it would be one of those. So, you know, you don't get a lot of, like, 70-hour JRPG style games about that. You seem to get a lot of these. So, yeah, it developed a bit of a reputation, this whole genre.
It's a slow burn.
But I don't know, maybe some of them are good. I don't know, Firewatch, people like Firewatch. I'm sure it's not terrible. I don't know much about it.
Maybe it's fire. But the payoff is 100% worth it when you finally get there.
Sad lesbian game. Yeah, sometimes. Oh my god!
One of the best story-driven experiences.
It's okay for those who don't know. Somebody just said sad lesbian game, and that is literally what I mean. I don't know what this game is actually about, but this was a huge meme back in the day. This is the game I was just basically describing. Where it's just like gender identity in college game where you walk around and feel sad about things. And this was like a hot button issue in Gamergate because a lot of those fucking, you know, Kotaku type websites, they were really giving games like this super great press, but anything that was like, you know, a real video game that came out, you know, I mean, it's like fine to give this good press. I mean, maybe it's a fine game. I don't really know about it. Maybe it's a well-done narrative. I really don't know that much about it, but I just know that a lot of people were really gung-ho about Gone Home. This is a great pick. I can see where a few of the dislikes might have come from on this video, but it's just an honorable mention. It's a little silly, but whatever.
Ever played. I absolutely love the atmosphere here. The soothing music in the background acts as a comforting sound to contrast against the ominous lightning and storm sound effects booming outside. The house is simultaneously warm and inviting as well as foreboding and mysterious. Exploring the rooms and listening is simultaneously warm and inviting as well as foreboding and mysterious.
Is the foreboding mysteriosity part the part where the door texture gets all fucky there? What was that? You see that? Yeah, what's going on there? Is that like a spooky? Maybe that's like when you highlight the door. I guess maybe it's something like
Serious.
that.
Exploring the rooms and listening to the diary entries is calming and heartwarming, while venturing into the sealed-off parts of the house gives you this looming sense of dread and uncertainty.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think it's a bad thing to have a game that's like a narrative thing where you just walk around. That's fine. That's fine. There's a lot of VR games that are more or less this. You know, it's just that it is funny that this became a genre in a very specific, you know, because a lot of people that make, like, quote-unquote indie games, they also, you know, it's all connected with this, like, they want to tell stories, but they don't really like games a lot of the time, and they have, like, a derision toward gamers in general, so they make these kinds of, like, weird games that just don't have any gameplay, and you just kind of walk around, and they aren't really fun, and they're not really supposed to be fun. And it's like this whole fucking artistic fucking thing where it's like, oh, but games can make you feel all sorts of things, man. And like, I get it, but you know, you could have made it fun also. Just like, all I'm saying, like, have the game, have a pinball machine, right? Just have a pinball machine in like your sister's room. Great. Bing, bang, boom. You got a bit of gameplay. There you go. Every now and then you get a little bored, you play a little bit of pinball. Who doesn't love pinball? Pinball's non-political, you know? Everybody loves pinball.
Certainty.
That's what I'm saying.
It's so hard for me to articulate what it is about.
Oh yeah, they're making a new Yick too. Speaking of hipster games for retards, they're making a new Yick. I don't know if it's like a DLC or if it's a full sequel, but man, I kind of wish it wasn't being made purely for like stream bait and people making fun of it. You know, because everybody hated the first Yick. But I kind of want to be part of that zeitgeist. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, I think I'm willing to give him the attention and play Yick too. Yick next.
Setting that works so well, but it's magnificent. And the game gives you the freedom to
yicking out. I'm yicking out. We're yicking out. Yicking out. Yicking out. Yicking out. We're yicking out. It's great. Everybody's yicking out. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
Pace. There's no linear list of rooms you need to explore in a certain order, no directional arrows or objective markers or anything like that. Just you and an empty house after your sister and parents mysterious.
I mean, if they're gonna, Jesus Christ, if Yick winds up being on this list, that'll be incredible. We can see that he likes these sort of indie narrative games, you know, hipster indie games. So, I mean, like, Yick is an interesting case of, like, what happens when this type of game gets made by someone who tries to put gameplay in it and seems to fail really hard, because I've heard very bad things about the gameplay of Yick. It's that it's mostly pointless, that the combat sucks, that it's like very easily broken and, you know, easy to just cheese every single fight, and that a lot of the like dungeon stuff is shitty too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's so hard. Like, Undertale's a great example of a game, you know? You got your whole narrative, it only works as a video game, you're checking off all the boxes, but it's also a video game. You can fucking play it, you have, like, combat. Even if you're playing Pacifist Run, that's arguably even harder gameplay. It's a video game, right? I don't know why that part seems to be hard for a lot of people. I mean, you can make these where you don't have gameplay, but, like, I don't know, I guess I don't get the fucking point, yeah.
Seriously vanished.
I mean, like, there's a game that I've been playing on Steam that I've mentioned, it's Shashingo, and it helps with the Japanese learning. You just walk around a tiny little neighborhood and look at things, and it like, helps you, you know, remember words and stuff. You look at stuff and it'll tell you the word, and it'll quiz you on where, you know, what each word is, and that kind of thing. And, like, that's kind of like a walking simulator, but, you know, it's, like, for a purpose. You know, there's no beginning state, win-lose state, or whatever in that. I guess there kind of is if you quiz yourself, but not really. You know, games can do lots of different fucking things, and I've been one of the people who said I don't need every video game to be man, swing, sword, fight, slash, kill. I don't need that. I don't need shoot game. I don't need every game to be shoot game. But you know what? There's a big difference between Gone Home and Katamari, you know? Like, make your story be like Katamari. Just make it super gay and Japanese, and it'll be better. This game's already got half of that going.
While you were overseas, and now it's up to you to find the clues and solve the mystery.
You should quiz yourself now!
I absolutely adore it. Investigating every room at my own pace in the order I chose, and putting together the pieces to uncover the truth behind why everyone left was more satisfying than I could have ever expected. I was fully immersed in this world from the moment I stepped through the doors to the moment I read the final diary entry, and I had the biggest smile on my face when the credits rolled. If you're not a fan of slow-paced, story-driven games, then this definitely won't be for you. But if you like to slow down and immerse yourself,
I don't know, I've never played it. Maybe there are win-lose states. Maybe there's, like, puzzles. Maybe there's puzzle. I mean, maybe you have to fucking complete a jigsaw puzzle to open a door or something. It's like Resident Evil. I guess in that case, I'd be fine. I'd be a little more okay with it. You know, like, I guess I'm open to it, but I'm also like, why, though? I don't know. There's a lot of fucking kinds of stuff you can make, and you chose to make something where you just, I guess, don't do anything. You just kind of walk around. I mean, yeah, it's an interactive narrative. I guess you can do that. It's just, I mean, you get stuff like Yume Nikki and fucking LSD the Dream Emulator, and that's a walking simulator. Those are both walking simulators. A lot of the shit that Vinny plays that are just like weirdo games where you walk around and look at things. That's walking simulators, but it's like, you know, this is just a house. I don't know. I guess I don't see why anybody would want to walk around this. I guess this is like the beginning of that sort of 90s boom. Well, this is before that. I mean, this is before the 80s boom even. This is like a decade old at this point. Gone Home is. So, I mean, like, I think this one's set in the early 90s, so people might have played it and been like, oh, let's relive the old days. It's kind of like, you know what's a good walking simulator, kind of? It's the coin game. Because ostensibly it is just like an arcade thing where you go and do the stupid coin pushers. But then you realize that the real game is like going out of the arcade and taking your little go-kart and exploring the whole entire town and finding the other arcades and fucking other buildings and stuff that are out there. And there's not really any point to any of it, you know? But you just do it. That's a great walking simulator. And that's one, too, that's, like, weird and spooky throughout for some reason. And they need to make it, like, a real narrative. You know? They need to make it, like, a real thing where it's secretly, it's, like, a whole... There's, like, a cult. It's evil. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this game. I just know that it's gay!
Yourself into a deep, enriching narrative with beautifully compelling atmosphere, endearing characters, and a total lack of linearity in its design.
My summer car,
right
yeah.
up your alley.
Really? What are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? What's going on in this list?
Alright, look, I know.
I guess he just really likes games where you're like... I don't know much about Until Dawn. Again, none of these are my thing. None of they all look kind of bad. I like all of the Firewatch. I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but like to me, it's like this looks fucking boring. I mean, I love a game that tells me a good story, but I usually like to play them. You know, like a Persona or something, or even just a Red Dead 2. You know, so what are you doing, buddy? I think Until Dawn is like more of a game. It's like a horror game, kind of.
Oh, you probably just rolled your eyes at this one, so let's get the obvious stuff out of the way first. Does Until Dawn have its campy moments? Yes. Is it some horrifying masterpiece? No. But I did find myself tensing up and holding my breath for plenty of moments. It's nice that choices actually have significance in terms of which characters survive. The atmosphere is simultaneously beautiful and intriguing as well as...
I mean, every game that's ever claimed that, I've heard so many people be like, not really. Like, every game that's ever attempted... I don't know, we've come so far with graphics that, like, graphics can't look better, basically, than they do now. But we still haven't really fully cracked a game that's, like, the choices really matter, you know? I mean, like, I really thought Disco Elysium was that, and even that, when I played the second time around, I was like, oh... That just kind of happens no matter what you do, huh? Oh, that's a shame. Baldur's Gate 3 comes kind of close. But, like, this just reminds me of that David Cage... What was it? Detroit Become Black or whatever. where it's like, it's a big whole interweaving fucking mesh of choices you can make, but basically there's one right path, and then there's a bunch of stupid, there's just a bunch of stupid bullshit. And a lot of it doesn't really matter, and yeah, games have forever been fucking selling themselves on choices matter. And, like, the best you usually get is pick which ending you get, you know? Like, that's the best you usually get. I think, like, maybe an SMT game does it best, where you kind of get slotted into an ending based on your gameplay, rather than just choosing. But then you have what happened with me and fucking 4, where it's like, you get slotted into the chaos ending, and you're just like, oh, well, I wanted the neutral ending. God damn it. And you just get, like, annoyed. Choices are hard to make matter. I've heard that they don't really in this one, but alright.
Frigid.
Still just on the honorable mentions. We're gonna have to speed it along. I'm gonna just sort of look at a little bit of what he has to say about each thing now. I mean, like, this is Until Dawn.
Feel that can't quite be described verbally.
Can't be described.
Now that we've made our way through the honorable mentions, let's finally...
He's showing a disturbing amount of footage of Halo Infinite in this list of his favorite games ever.
Get on to the proper top 20.
This is, let's get into it. 20 of them, huh? Okay, stupid. Toy Story 3, the game.
Gotham was destroyed in approximately 89 minutes. I'll never forget the day I saw this movie for the first time as a kid. June 18th, 2010, the first showing of the day. They literally had to open the theater for us and the others that were there for the first showing. And after bawling my eyes out as a child in the theater, I came home to find out that my parents had bought this for me as a surprise. Disney had a habit of releasing...
This is why you're like this. I mean, how old...
Literally had to open the theater for us and the others that were there for the first showing. And after bawling my eyes out as a child in the theater, I came home to find out that my parents had bought this for me as a surprise.
I mean, I don't know how old he was. You know, I loved Toy Story as a child too, but eventually I got to a point where I stopped... I don't know, I stopped caring that much about it, you know? I don't know. I mean, Toy Story 4 murdered his childhood, as he was describing there. So maybe that's what reignited the flame? I don't know.
Disney had a habit of releasing their movie tie-in games a few days before the movie itself, and it was waiting for me once we got home. And thus, the rest of my day was lost to nothing but this game, and I loved every minute of it.
This is such a strange mixture of baby games. I mean, this one's apparently fine. It's like, I mentioned earlier, this game's apparently pretty good for what it is. But, like, this next to fucking Gone Home and... like Firewatch, it's very strange. It's a very strange mix of things. I don't know.
Being able to explore this world from the films, or even just make my own world with characters I love, never ceases to be a fun time.
There's like a whole little side thing. You put together your own little world.
Obviously, there's a bit of a personal reason why I love this game so much. But even putting that aside, it's still a genuinely great game. Movie tie-ins don't often have a great reputation because...
Alright, yeah, so Toy Story game, right. Well, number 18 here. Number 18. We're getting close to the funny number, don't worry. Come on, play the video. What are you doing?
It is the absolute dream game to play.
Man, how many fucking video games have you played? It's not even, it's one where it's like, this is like a solid 6 out of 10. All these Lego games are kind of the same. They're all pretty good. They're all fine. Really? Best ever. I mean, number 18 favorite game. Alright.
Remember when Lego games were good? Yeah, I remember. And oh, how I long for the days when these games were even half as good as Lego Indiana Jones.
People really like that new one. He really is just one of these people who, I mean, this is the nostalgia blind person who just, this user is the nostalgia blind user. They just see all of the things. I mean, when you talk about someone who's like blind to the, you know, the new thing that comes out, oh, it has to be shit. My thing was better. My childhood, great. It was better. You know, like the people that are really, really mad about the FF7 game, and it's like, I don't know, man. FF7 original. You're in and out of fucking calm in like 5 minutes or less, you know? Like, there are towns in the original FF7 that are just they're basically pit stops for items and gear, and you never return to them. And it's like, you know what? I feel like there could maybe have been some upgrade done, and they did upgrade some of those towns. So now there's story relevance to them a little bit more, and there's things that happen there, and there's like, you know, side quests and shit. Are they all great? Not really, but like, you know, there's things you can do to improve upon stuff that's great. And you know, so there's a lot of people you see that are, you know, blinded to nostalgia, and this seems to be that type of person to an extent. I mean, like, I don't know. You know, I don't know much about the Lego Star Wars fucking Skywalker game. That was the last one. That's the one he says is terrible. He's complaining about here. A lot of people liked it. Apparently, it's not as complicated as the Lego Baby game from 2003 or whatever. But I mean, I guess that's a problem. That does sound like a problem if it's easier than the baby game, than the original baby game. I guess that is a problem. But I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, it's a Lego game. There's a lot of other video games. Why don't you play one of those? I guess. But Lego Indiana Jones. This is the big one.
A game that serves as an eternal reminder of a simpler time. A time when there wasn't an overemphasis on making things intensely cinematic to railroad you down a linear path. A time when they weren't trying to cram every type of gameplay under the sun they possibly could into a single game. A time when the scope wasn't blown way out of proportion under the false pretense that bigger means better, and
this is the problems with the new one, I guess. Alright, well, I mean, bro, all of these games are the same. Like, I'm gonna be real, I've tried to play all of these Lego games that are relevant to me, and even the ones that aren't really, like, I've tried to play all of the Star Wars ones, they're all, you know, fine. I've tried to play the Indiana Jones one, it's fine. Basically all of the Lego, like, superhero ones, they're all the same. They're all the same. I think my favorite one was the Harry Potter game, and that one's got the lowest reviews. No one liked that one. I don't know what it was. I think I liked that one a little bit more for some reason. It had the Goblin Fellows, which everyone finds problematic now, toward the beginning. I remember that. But yeah. I mean, they're all the same. So it's like him complaining, oh, they finally fucking made the series not just be like 400 of the same game with different characters in it. You know, slightly different skins of the same characters. I can't find it in me to care that much. I don't know. You have fucking 100 of these. Just play those. It's fine.
Time when they had significantly more faith in your intelligence. There's no condescending dialogue explaining to you how to solve puzzles, no deliberate camera angles showing you where to go unless a boss spawns in, no artificial restrictions on where you can go, nothing. Just a casual, fun game where you can run around iconic Indiana Jones environments, bashing everything in sight, solving engaging puzzles to get through the main game, and find all
engaging puzzles, dude, it is a Lego game. I don't know if those puzzles are going to be super engaging for everyone, man.
All the hidden artifact pieces and puzzles, and watch out.
I hate these Lego games too, because I'm like fucking, I don't know, I have like ADD or something, and it's the same thing with Ratchet and Clank. It's these games where you fucking hit any object, and they explode into like 500 million fucking pieces that you can pick up. And it just makes me have to hit everything in the level. And I lose interest really quickly. It's not really the game's fault, but man, just every level. Oh, and then they tell you like, oh, you gotta get your fucking true Jedi rank. Hit more things to get more fucking studs. It's like, man, I don't know. I guess if you're 6 and you just want to bash stuff, then that's great. But eventually I'm like, man, I know it's mostly my fault, but they incentivize it, and it's like, you get unlockables if you get more fucking studs. So what am I gonna do? I want the unlockables, goddammit. Fucking hell.
A lighthearted take on the main beats of the trilogy's story without omitting major noteworthy events or losing the impactful tone of important scenes. You got that, Lego Indiana Jones 2? What more is there to say? We've all played Lego games before. We all know the simple joy these games provide, whether you're familiar with the IP in question or not.
It's so funny to imagine Lego games involving, like, Nazis. Like, the things that are in Indiana Jones, Just like, buy your Lego Stormtrooper today! Not the Star Wars kind. And, you know, comes with free gas like, I don't know, you know, there's the scene where he, like, doesn't he, like, punch a guy into a fucking helicopter blade? No, it's like it's like an engine of a plane. They're fighting, he fights the big bald guy, and, like, that guy gets fucking mulched in a plane. So, like, for kids, you know, Lego, it's great. It's very funny they made that into a Lego game.
I just wish the Traveler's Tales also knew that so we could start getting Lego games that were even
Face
half as good
melting,
as these original adventures instead of schlop like this. Lego Indiana Jones The Original Adventures was the first Lego game I ever played. It was my introduction to the Indiana Jones movie.
I'm starting to fucking see a pattern here.
And is easily the best one of the bunch that never gets old.
The first one you ever played is the best. I'm noticing that. It's the best one.
No matter how many times I play through it.
No matter how many, all the 75 times that I've played it, it never gets old. Okay, you're fucking with me.
So, of all the games I'm gonna talk about on my list today, this one...
I'm sorry, this is a moron. Again, I don't want to fucking take away from your life that you've enjoyed a thing, but it's just... How much have you really... He put Mario 64 in his worst games ever list, by the way, and this guy is not trolling. He's just like this. This is a person who actually believes these things. Because he's so, like, he's so dull. He's not really interesting outside of just actually thinking these things. He actually really, because it makes you wonder, like, how much have you actually played in your life? It's fair if you're, like, super casual. That word gets thrown around a lot as a bad thing. It's like, it's funny, but if you're just, like, super casual, you played a few games, whatever, it's like, okay, maybe the fucking Over the Hedge game is gonna be something you really hold dear to you. That's fine. But you're just picking a bunch of shit licensed games that you had as a baby. You've played other stuff. We know you have. We know you played Mario 64, so what the fuck is going on here? You're just a moron.
You the most because a video game based on Over the Hedge has no right to be as good as it is, but this is genuinely a lot of fun to play. It's got platform.
Yes, I'm gatekeeping. Fuck off.
Mechanics that are surprisingly tight controls and satisfying.
When did we like decide that gatekeeping was illegal? I don't know. Like, yeah, sometimes look at this shit. Fucking look at this shit and tell me that there's no gatekeeping that needs to be done here. Fuck off.
Chains of jumps to pull off across all the levels. It's got fast-paced, intense combat encounters where each character brings their own unique skill set to the table, and their strengths can be combined for dynamic, ultra-powerful moves.
This is just he's talking this up like he is the marketing team for this game. This is every movie game that was like, now you can play with Shrek and all of his friends! And they're just... And like, they sold these games on the marketing. He really got sold on the marketing. They sold these fucking games on just, like, a bunch of lines, like, back-of-the-box bullshit. And it was just... A lot of it was, like, it's like action figures. They sell the action figure with, like, super extreme ultra fist power! And it's just a button on their back that makes their arm go up and down a little bit. And, like, that's what these games are. He's like, wow, you get ultra super combo moves! Like, great. So I press a button and they do a move. Awesome. I haven't played a game that does that before. Great.
You can mix and match your character party before going into any of the levels, and doing so will not only change how you play, but also offers brand new dialogue that's written in such a way that no matter which characters you bring, the flow of conversation is completely natural.
Oh, you get some real deep fucking S-links on this one. You get to find out about how the fucking turtle from Over the Hedge is secretly gay. You get to find out about how the squirrel from Over the Hedge is thinking about selling its body on the streets to feed its family. You get some real dialogue. I didn't know that I didn't know the lore went that deep.
It never feels like a character is reacting to a different line that wasn't said. Yet it's not so bland that all humor and wit is sapped of their personalities to try to make the dialogue work for 3 different possible conversations.
Not just lasers, brain teasers. But don't worry, the dialogue's great though.
All humor and wit is sapped of their personalities to try to make the dialogue work for 3 different possible conversations. And the
That is actually the fucking dialogue that he showed as an example of the dialogue being charming and witty or whatever the fuck. Brain teasers.
Mode has some really fun as hell party games to play with friends and family. Bumper cars with golf carts, speed racers, driving ranges, it's just a blast to play. And the single player mode takes you through a diverse array of locations to explore.
This is unbelievable. This is like reminding me of when I would have been 10, I guess, or maybe just turned 11 or something. The Incredibles game on the like PS2, GameCube. They had a whole segment about that on YTV one time, and it was I think it was Carlos, and it might have been Sugar and Carlos, basically bigging up the Incredibles game and talking about there was a level where you're like Mrs. Incredible and you're going through the jungle and you have to like blow up a bunch of fucking like enemy ships or whatever, and they're talking about this, and it's like, wow, you get to destroy turrets and you get to play as all the Incredible, and it's exactly the way he sounds right now. Like they were just selling the game, and it's like the most, I mean, like that game's all right, it's fine. The Incredibles game, it's fine. It's like this type of thing. It's a licensed game. It's all right. It's probably better than this one from what I can see of it. I mean, but then I grew up with it, so that's just me saying that. But it's fine, you know. But like it doesn't have any substantial fucking features that other video games have never done before. And so all this kind of thing where it's like you get to do the turrets and everything, and like, oh wow, there's like boss fights in this game. Amazing. I can see why it made your number 17 best of all time. I can see that.
Where each heist has its own set of cool mechanics and objectives to complete. And even the plot is pretty decent. Of course, it's nowhere near as good as the movie itself. If you're looking for a gripping, emotional, and hilarious adventure on par with the story of the film, you most decidedly will not find that here. But it still puts forth a high-stakes scenario that gets you invested and serves as an alright follow-up to the story from the film. And the humor is most certainly not lacking. Look, I know this seems like a strange—
Most certainly. Don't worry, Over the Hedge fans. You're gonna be eating good.
Pick, especially considering some screenshots of character models that tend to circulate around the internet. But Over the Hedge is genuinely a lot of fun to play, especially with a buddy. And
I'm sure it's fine. Oh, with a buddy. Oh, he had like friends to play that. Of course. I fucking hate these multiplayer. The entire Borderlands series literally only exists because people have fucking conned themselves into thinking that hanging out with their friends equals a fucking good video game. We've got like 3 of these and spin-offs and a whole shit-ass movie that's coming out. Because every person who's ever liked Borderlands just goes, oh, it's really fun with friends. Yeah, so's fucking getting tortured. It's a lot better to be tortured with friends than alone. Yeah, it's real fun with fucking a buddy. I'm sure it is. Because you're having a fucking good time with your friend. It's called being social.
I highly recommend it, even if you've never seen the movie. So, I'm gonna be blunt with this one by saying that you are not going to believe me when I tell you what game has earned—
Fucker, let me explain something to you. You say that Mario 64 is one of the worst things ever, and you have put the Over the Hedge game at number 17. No, I do believe anything you tell me. Go for it. Is it going to be a porn game? Is it going to be adventure for the Atari? Is it going to be fucking tennis for 2? Is it going to be Lara Croft anal gape adventures? What are we talking about here?
Spot number 16. You're going to think I'm
my possibilities there range from porn game to adventure game to porn adventure game.
you. Or you might think I've suffered from an unfortunate cranial accident recently. But I promise you, I am not trying to pull one over on you when I say—
Persona 5? What, I don't understand. I guess I am. I actually am. I am surprised, actually, come to think of it. Because
you never see it coming.
I would have never seen a good game coming on this list. This is, in fact, the first one. Because what has it been? It's been like a bunch of hate. Well, okay, Beat Saber. Beat Saber is also on here. So it's this and Beat Saber. And then it's been a bunch of like licensed games that maybe are okay, and Doki Doki Literature Club that's, you know, maybe fine, I guess. And a bunch of like walking sims and some fucking other trash, and now he's got like a real video game. I don't understand. You're right, I don't believe you. No, actually, he's genuinely right. I thought it would be impossible to surprise me. But now, because I'm thinking, like, yeah, I used the example of, like, Persona when I was talking about, like, hey, I get wanting a cool story in your game. I'm not gonna play a fucking walking simulator where, you know, you just walk around and do nothing and and experience the story. I would rather play through like 100-hour JRPG that has a good story or something. And here we are, I guess. Alright.
That Persona 5 Royal is now one of my favorite games of all time.
Maybe he put it on his worst list or something? Maybe he came around to it. Alright, here's some more unneeded Phineas and Ferb.
Hey, didn't you say that?
Look, it's not one of my favorite games of all time. It's definitely not cracking my top 10. Probably even my top 20 games of all time. Yeah, I know what I said. You wanna know what else I said? As of the time I'm recording this, I went to the theater to go see Toy Story 4 3 days ago. The movie itself is not that bad, right? It's, as a movie, like, plot-wise,
Great,
it's fairly airtight.
Yeah, the terrible opinions, right. Well, glad that you've been able to redeem yourself with this one.
The first declarative statement of quality a person says about a piece.
Suits? He's got random fucking... Okay, cartoons. This is, you know, if you're playing user bingo, out of place adult interest. This is like a boring fucking show about, like, legal people or something, but everybody likes it because it's got that royal cunt in it. And I guess it's got some, like, sexy men or whatever, so it's, you know, the women like it. This show sucks. And why is this here? I get Phineas and Ferb because you're like a weirdo, but you're gonna hit me with the fucking Ramsey Bolton next, aren't you? What's the next game on the list? It's gonna be like Splatterhouse. It's gonna be like a violent murder game. I guess we already had Until Dawn, so I mean, I guess that's possible.
Piece of media is not the only thing they are ever allowed to say about it. The more time you have to think about any given movie, game, etc., the greater the potential for more issues or points of praise to come to fruition. For instance, Toy Story 4 is a movie that gets worse and worse every time you think about it. On the other end,
he thinks about it a whole lot.
Of the spectrum, I have noticed even more details about Halo Infinite that made me realize it's even more brilliantly written than I thought.
How are you... This is a fascinating video because, I mean, ostensibly all he's doing right now, if you really broad strokes it, he's listing that his 16th favorite game of all time is Persona 5 Royal. That's fine. It's a good game. People like it. It's a very popular game. That seems like a game that would make a lot of people's lists. It's probably going to make mine, you know, if I ever made a list like that. But then you really get into what's happening, and you see that he's, for some reason, he's couching this, like, love of Persona 5 in how great Halo Infinite is, writing-wise. You know, the one where you drive around from checkpoint to checkpoint, and, like, NPCs tell you the story or whatever. I don't know, I didn't play much of it, to be fair. I got really bored of the campaign really early on. It was like, oh, these new enemies are terrible, and nothing is interesting, and I'm good, thank you. No thank you. You know, you freed up 100 gigabytes of space real quick. You know, but he really likes it. The story, specifically, the writing. And so in this entry about Persona 5 Royal, he's been talking about Toy Story 4 and Halo fucking 6 or whatever. We're completely and entirely off the subject, and he's somehow managing to be really wrong and stupid in a video that should, it's like this part of the video should be a slam dunk. This whole video should be a slam dunk. All you have to do is just say what your favorite games are. They don't have to be, how hard is that? How hard is that? There's a lot of good ones. You don't have to pick a bunch of wacky, insane shit to the point where you pick one that's normal and I fucking think you're trolling.
thought the first time around, as is the case with Persona 5 Royal. Not because I've suddenly tricked myself into thinking the game was any fun to play post Futaba's Palace. Okumura is nothing but pain and suffering.
Well, you know, I'm all agreed on that one.
His casino is tedious, Shido's boat even more so.
Those are fine. You're also highly spoiling the end of Persona 5 here, but alright.
Mementos is a slog, although fighting Josh Cooley is admittedly pretty
Imagine literally being a fucking baby who played Persona 5 only and thinks Mementos is a slog. Boy, you don't have any fucking idea how good you goddamn have it. The whole game could have been Mementos. Fuck off. Mementos is like, to an Atlas game, what Halo 2 is to fucking, I don't know, video game, whatever. Mementos is a series of boring hallways, but man, it's not like they built 2 entire games on that previously. It's not like most Atlas games are a series of really boring hallways with fights in them. You have no idea. You don't even have a concept of how good you had it. Holy shit.
And I don't even want to talk about the nightmare fuel that is Maruki's Palace. And it's also not because—
You guys remember the one stream that I did where I played the, what was it? SMT, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I played a bit of that. And I was fucking astounded to find out that it was neither Shin Megami Tensei or Fire Emblem. It was like basically a shitty Persona 4 specifically. It felt a lot like Persona 4. It was a shitty Persona 4 that had like Fire Emblem characters as summons. You think that like Kingdom Hearts is not a very good crossover of 2 franchises. It's like 99% Disney and every now and then there's a fucking Cactuar or something. I mean, not in the first couple games. The first couple games actually have Final Fantasy stuff, but yeah, no, that one's real bad, and that one I remember playing it the whole first fucking like 10 minutes of that game. 10 minutes, fuck. The whole basically most of that stream was me walking around a shitty like labyrinth of like enemies and save points, and it's the Atlas special. It's what they do. It's every game they've ever made, and they're only just now getting better at it. So, congratulations, dude. Don't play any of the other games made by this company. Just don't. I'm glad you like this one. Just don't play anything else made by this company.
Less annoyed by the contrivance present in several major instances throughout the story, but because, and I'm sure this will come as no surprise to any of you, of how much I fell in love with this family of Phantom Thieves. At the end of the day, in a story-driven experience, characters are what matter above all else. And
as he shows mainly shots of them at the beach for some reason. That's funny. That's like the editing that I would do to make fun of you. But you just... I just love the characters so much. Really loving the characters in this game so much. You're not selling me. I love this game. You're not selling me that it's not a game for weirdos right now.
At the end of the day,
the characters are just so great. Here's some more beach footage.
Story-driven experience, characters are what matter above all else. And for all this game's fault—
Yeah, I hope he's not waifus with Futaba or whatever, because he's got some competition, obviously. He's got some competition with Sonic Sega Gamer, we all know. She's his girl, bro, so...
Of which there are plenty, it was a universe I always looked forward to returning to each day I sat down to record it. For as cheesy as it may sound for me to say, it almost felt like a second life with how comprehensive its mechanics are. There's practically no limitations placed upon who you can spend time with and where you can do it. And I was always—
Well, there's quite a few limitations. You can't spend time with that guy. What's going on with him right now? I really, you know, I know it's like, it's just the way of things, but it's like you make this game with all these hyper-detailed main characters. And I mean, this is stylized specifically where the background people don't have much feature, or much in the way of features, but, you know, you get a lot of games where it is like that, like FF7 Rebirth. All of the people look like they were just randomly made in, like, character creators. You know, not randomly maybe, they look too normal for that, but just, you know, default character creator OCs. And then you've got Cloud Strife and the gang walking around, and it's like... I don't know, I guess I'd like to see a story where either everybody looks like an insane fucking main character, or it follows someone who doesn't, who, you know, there's like people in the world who are like that. All the background characters are overly designed, but the main character is like this guy. That's a cool story.
Actively invested in getting to know every one of them on a more intimate level, even if I had no idea how literal that mission would become. And for as much as the palace design starts to tank as soon as you get to Okumura, for the first half, the pacing of alternating between fast-paced JRPG battles and slower-paced, story-heavy sequences with character bonding and, for lack of a better term, life simulation worked wonders at—
The problem with this entire fucking series is that, like, I'm looking at this now and the way he talks about the mix of the two things or whatever, I'm like, man, this is just reminding me of the way every single, like, 3, 4, and 5, I'm not so sure about the first two. I think they're a little different in terms of this, but you basically, the ideal thing that you do is go into the dungeon on one calendar day, finish it entirely in one calendar day, or as much as you can, and then do a full month, basically, of just, like, fucking life sim shit. That's like the optimal way to play, but it's also, it winds up making everything kind of boring. You just wind up with like a 6-hour slog through a dungeon, and you get bored of that, and then you get like 6 hours of fucking cutscenes for the rest of the month, and then that gets boring. Play Persona today, it's a great series, I really like it.
Keeping me hooked throughout the entire 130-hour adventure. And that's the core of this game. The story of this group of misfits banding together to change
Okay, so he loves Persona, cool. Mario Kart Wii. Cool, alright. You know, real game, I mean, it's Mayro, but whatever. It's Bing Bing, but that's fine. Wahoo. We got like a random VR game. I mean, I've heard the name. Maybe it's good. It's just such a strange... These are such... It's like he didn't think about this list very much. It's supposed to be his all-time best list. And, I mean, like, really? It might be something he was playing at the time that he really liked, but all-time favorite ever, number 14. Above the Mario game. I don't know. I don't know what this game is, but...
I'm not typically a fan of stealth games. The closest I ever got was playing the Truth and Reconciliation in Halo Combat Evolved. More often than not, I find stealth games to be way too slow-paced and laborious for my liking. But there's something special about the budget cut duology that effortlessly managed to pull me in, and that's probably due to the medium of being a virtual reality game. You feel a lot sneakier and more immersed when you can physically duck below windows to avoid detection and move—
I mean, it looks like a cool game. I'm sure it's good. It's just, it doesn't seem like it would be a top 20 of all time type of thing. I mean, it's your list, man, but there's a lot of fucking video games. Vacation Simulator now? What's happening? We got another VR game? You just said you don't like VR games usually. You put 2 back to back.
Perfect game to play to relax after a long, stressful day. And that's the best way to describe this game. Relaxing. There is a storyline to follow and progression to make.
Cool. Top 20 of all time, by the way. I like to kick back and relax in this game, I guess. Alright, cool. Top 20 of all time. I'm sure it's fine. I've played a little of it. It's a little bit non-one-handed friendly, though. Oh, for God's sakes, is this another hipster game? What the fuck?
One of the most powerful video game experiences of all time.
Just pick normal shit!
It is so hard for me to figure out how to recommend this game because there's almost no way to give it the praise it deserves without diving into heavy spoilers. Conceptually, here's what the game's all about. A narrator named Davey Wreden, writer of the Stanley Parable, is going to take you on a journey through a series of video games developed by his friend called—
I remember Vinny played some of this, and it was extraordinarily pretentious, and he stopped playing it pretty quick. And there were some people in chat who were, like, kind of annoyed that he stopped, but it was like, you could kind of tell, it was like, oh god, it's this kind of fucking game. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's fine. It kind of seems like getting over it if it was, like, I don't know, just a walking simulator, basically. I mean, I don't think there's much to this one. I mean, like, Gone Home, I think, has, like, puzzles and stuff, at least. This one really is just walk through, like, a digital museum of stuff, I think, and a guy narrates it for you, which is, like, I guess it's cool. Is it a top 20 thing? It's number 12. It's above Persona 5 and Mario Kart. Really?
Called Coda, and while you adventure through every game that he made, you attempt to figure out what kind of person Coda is and why, one day, he mysteriously stops developing games. And that's it. That's all I can tell you without ruining this masterpiece for you, because to reveal anything else about the narrative or its characters would be to give too much away and rob you of its emotional weight. I was honestly hesitant to tell you as much as I did. The narration is grounded to perfectly pull you into the world within the opening prologue. Each new game you explore—
I mean, you know, I'll say it's cool. It seems like something that you can only do with your video games. You can't make a movie like this, right? You know, your interactive thing. I'm not like shitting on this product, this piece of art or whatever too much. The beginner's guide. You know, I'm sure it's fine, but it's just, man, it's a little bit. It's just your top 20 games of all time, huh? Really? I'm sure it's fine, but there's a lot of fucking games out there, and it seems like you've played no shortage of them, you know?
Offers new insight to the deeper story at play, and it has you wrapped right around its finger for
Lego Indiana Jones was more exciting than this, yes.
all the emotional beats, only to rip you right out of it at the most optimal time for your heart to shatter. Something that the music, atmosphere, and general sound design all work together to masterfully accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, I look at games like this and I can't help but just be like, I get that you made this and it's a narrative thing and that's all fine, and I'm not saying you need to have combat or whatever. I mean, I remember there was such a pushback, I remember, when I complained back in the day on V about, which there's your first problem, but back in the day, I remember I was like, I don't really like Shadow of the Colossus, because it's kind of fucking boring. You just, like, fight a boss, and then you just walk for a while to go fight another boss, and it's like, couldn't you have, like, a level in between the fucking bosses? I get the whole fucking thing you're doing here, but can't there also be gameplay? And I had people being like, why don't you stuff your face with a fucking burger, you fat American piece of shit? Because I wanted to, like, do things in my video game. And you know, apparently I'm just supposed to fucking take in the fucking art and the narrative, and it's like, I guess that's fine, but you can do that and also have it's like the yellow paint thing, like, yeah, you can do it. It just feels like an admission that you couldn't make a game that has gameplay also, and also gives me these feelings that I'm supposed to have, and gives me a narrative. And, like, because it's like, it's not like the best games that do that are, like, super inaccessible to people, right? The best games that do that are balanced in such a way that anybody can fucking play them and get into them, ultimately. You know, I mean, unless it's maybe like a Dark Souls or something, but that's kind of a special niche kind of deal. We're talking like on Metal Gear Solid 2 or something. It's not like it's so prohibitively fucking hard that it can't tell a story and also be a video game. I mean, say what you will about Kojima or whatever, but, you know, MGS4, you got 5-hour cutscenes, you know. But it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's just like an admission that you just couldn't, I guess. You're not as good as Hideo Kojima or whoever, you know, made those classic games that had a story and also had gameplay, so you just make this kind of, this half measure that's like, no, it's supposed to be this way! I guess. It just feels like you could do more, and I'm not saying it needs to be combat. I'm not saying you need to fight 100 fucking hordes of the damned. You just maybe have a little puzzle now and then. I don't know. I don't know. Is that so much to ask? Have some dialogue with people, you know, maybe some structure, some fucking something. I don't know.
I wish I could say more. I wish I could sit here for 2 hours and break down every last second of this game's script and why it all works so well on multiple levels and how it appeals to so many different topics with the respect and appropriate time dedicated to them. But that is as spoiler-free as I can.
This seems like it has dialogue and stuff. It's got a lot of, like, environments. Again, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's a cool experience, but, like, I don't know, do you just walk around? Is that it? I mean,
forget about it. So please, play this game. Every single person can play the beginner's guide and take away something profoundly—
yeah, there's 0 entry to fucking play it. Yeah, there's 0. There's none. So, yeah, everyone can play it. It's like, it's weird that we've needed to make games this, like, Back in the day, there was this whole... nobody cared much about if you could fucking play a video game or not. They just sold them. And if you fucking couldn't, then you just didn't play them. But nowadays, it's like everybody needs to be able to play every game. And I get it. I mean, I'm disabled. I get it. But it's just funny because, like, we also have YouTube now. I mean, if you can't play a game that has gameplay, you can just watch someone do it. I don't know, but now it's just funny that now is when we're getting all of the push to, like, everybody has to be able to play now. It's like, this would have really helped me back in the day when I literally couldn't, you know? Having, like, videos of people playing Metroid Prime 3 or something. That would have been great, but...
meaningful. But the people for which this will most strongly resonate is anyone who works in any kind of creative field. But whether or not you're an artist, this
like
is...
you as Gamingmagic13, the YouTuber with 30,000 subscribers who makes top games of all time lists that feature really interesting entries. I see. Creative fields, yes.
An absolute must-play title. It's $9.99 on Steam, and it lasts anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how much time you take to soak in the atmosphere and explore every last corner of these magnificent worlds. I have a lot.
There's like dialogue options and stuff. I don't think it doesn't look like they necessarily matter. But it does seem visually cool. I'm not deriding the game. I'm just, that much. I'm just like, I don't know, I guess it's not my thing. I don't see why you couldn't make a game like this and have more than just visuals. Again, the best games that should be on a list like this are the ones that manage to do that and also have, like, things to play in them, And again, it doesn't need to be, like, punishing Elden Ring combat. It can literally just be, like, life sim elements or something. Give me, like, a fucking farm that I tend to, whatever, I don't know, but, like, just the walking, huh? It just kind of feels like it's unfinished, I don't know.
A lot of great memories
number 12 game ever.
Associated with the games on this list, and they all mean a lot to me. But
it's like
no
2
game
hours?
I've ever played has ever had such a profound and emotionally powerful impact on me that left me utterly speechless by the ending, and that I still take away new meaning from upon every subsequent replay.
This is so... I mean, I'm sorry, it looks like a cool thing, but I can't help but feel like this is just someone who's real, not the reviewer here, but the person, whoever made this feels like someone who's really insecure about gaming as a thing they care about. Like, oh my god, it's like the classic trope of, like, the Kotaku reviewer who's, like, ashamed that they're 30 years old and still play video games. Because they still feel like, they feel internally like video games are for children. So they have to make it into this whole fucking social justice thing about, like, fucking breaking the narratives of gaming and blah blah blah, and it's like, you could just admit to yourself that you like video games, it's fine. You don't need to make... Games are already art. Pac-Man is art. Metal Gear Solid 3 is art. Fucking Kingdom Hearts 27 is art, even if it's bad. You don't need to do this, like, super pretentious shit. I don't know. It seems really pretentious. This is really pretentious. I don't even think games need to be fun, necessarily. There's a lot of games that aren't fun, that are good, that are, like, horror games that aren't really fun, but they make you fucking scared and tense and feel like shit. Like, that's fine, but it's just, I don't know, it's the intentions of this where I'm like, it really feels pretentious. I don't know, maybe we'll get more cool walking sims. We already had Gone Home and Firewatch. I don't know what other maybe Death Stranding will be on the list. I swear to God, if Yick shows up on the fucking list, I'm gonna yick out so hard. Oh my god. Okay, well, it's a video game. I've heard it's good. It's just such a bizarre list of choices. This is so weird. It's so weird. It's so strange which games he's decided to pick as his top 20 of all time. I've heard it's fine. I've heard this is good. It's just... Also, it's funny to me that this is from the company that will not stop fucking making games about brothers and two people together. Every game, they haven't gotten over this as a concept. Every game they make is the same concept. Sometimes it's brothers, sometimes it's like a divorce or whatever the fuck's going on in this game, but it's like, Every time it's the same concept. Sometimes it's different genres. They won't stop making the same concept. I can't wait for their next game. We know exactly what it's gonna be. It might be a different genre, and it might be like Sisters this time. But it's gonna be exactly the same. I can't wait. Fuck the Oscars!
The rightful winner of 2021's Game of the Year award. The way I always describe this game to people is to say that it's just a massive burst of creativity. There's a seemingly never-ending stream of things to do, both throughout the main story, as well as off the golden path that are just there to mess around with and reward exploration.
Yes, I mean, this seems like a real video game. I haven't seen much from it. I'm not really shitting on this one. More than it's funny than that the company exclusively makes games about brothers and any other group of two people that they can put together as, like, what was the one that they're like there's the one called Brothers. There's the one that's like two brothers in jail together that have to break out called A Way Out, I think. And then there's this one. I think there might even be another one in there that's the same concept of just two people co-op game. I guess that's what their studio's all about. But this one seems like it's got gameplay, it's got mini games, it's got other stuff going on.
Something as simple as a rhythm game.
It's just a very strange thing, again, to have on a list like this. I don't know.
This is the perfect type of hidden objective to find in a co-op driven experience. Competitive minigames to battle against your friend and that serve as a great pace breaker from the larger scale of the main adventure. The most impressive thing about It Takes Two is the sheer variety of not only environments, but gameplay types. While the seamlessly satisfying movements remain unchanged throughout the game, it's not
I would never play another game from this company, but this does look like something that I would play, sure.
And to just throw one gameplay mechanic your way. Each new chapter gives you and your partner a brand new toy to play with and forces you both to use each other's strengths and weaknesses to work together as a team to solve the puzzle.
Sure, alright, it seems like a cool game. Gotcha. Number 10. Let's get on with this. Let's get this on with. It fits in with some of the other things he picked, but alright, cool game, sure, it's fine,
Great story, and it goes without saying Portal 2 will be right up your alley. And now that the companion collection has been announced, none of you...
Are you also a fan of, fucking Gone Home? Portal's probably right up your alley.
have an excuse anymore. Possibly the placement that will confuse you the most.
No, the whole list is very confusing, sir. Number 9, though. This is the number 9 best game he's ever played. I guess. I mean, it's something for everyone. This game's fine. It's good. I guess. With the exception of Mario Kart Wii and Persona 5, I don't think anything on this list would normally be put on a list of favorite games ever. Maybe like 1 or 2 as like an outlier, as like, this is a little bit of a weird pick, but this is really means something to me. And I think that would be fine. Like any of the games, even if it was Gone Home, whatever, haha, it'd be a little jokey joke, but it would be, whatever, it's one game on your list, fine. Your normal list that contains games like Silent Hill 2 and like Legacy of Kain or whatever. You know... But the whole list is kind of fucking strange. Even this one. This is a pretty normal game. I like it. It's fine. It's the Captain Toad game. It's pretty good. I like it. But, like, number 9 ever? Though? It's very strange. I'm not saying you can't have the list be this way, even. Like, you say gatekeeping. It's not. It's not even really gatekeeping. Because it's like, you have free will. Go for it. I'm just also allowed to point out that this is really weird. It's very weird.
Because people think this is a bad game. From what I understand, the general reception of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is pretty positive, because I never see it get talked about at all, which is a shame because I genuinely love this game. It's not just good or okay, it's amazing. It's filled with beauty.
Okay, I mean... So people are saying it's a baby game. It's not really. I mean, it is a little bit. It's a Nintendo game. It's like babies can play it, but it's a little boring is my problem. I don't know. I just get bored of it quickly. I want to like it more than I think I do. It's a little too slow moving and fucking boring. It seems like a game I really want to like, but then I play like 2 levels of it and I'm like, yeah, let's do something else, you know? It's not bad. I just don't think it's for me, but it's good. But like even if it was something I liked more, I still feel like it would be a weird one to put on. It's like if well, here's what's one that I like. It's like if this number 9 was, I was gonna say Wario World for the GameCube, but that game's pretty good, actually. That's a bit of a classic. That's a sleeper hit. It's just also extremely short, so it's kind of not worth it, but it wasn't worth it back then, but now you just fucking emulate it, whatever. It's a great game. I don't know, it'd be like if your favorite, number 9 favorite Nintendo game, or favorite game ever, it was a Nintendo game, but it was like Metroid Prime Pinball. That's one that I played that's like, you know, it's pretty good. I mean, I like it. I don't have a problem with it as a video game. You know, holistically, it's a fine choice, but it's very strange, though. It's a strange choice.
Varied environments that already looked incredible on the Wii U and look even better on the Switch. Gameplay-wise, it shows off super creative and thoughtful puzzle mechanics that offer a good challenge all throughout. Of course, since the game is obviously targeted at a younger demographic, the puzzles aren't going to be anywhere near the same difficulty as something like Turing Test, which is undoubtedly the most challenging puzzle game I've ever played. But it's still—
What is that? That looks like just a Portal game. What is that? Seems cool. That seems like a game you could talk about a little bit more than some of the ones you have. I would like to know more about that one.
Still manages to hold your attention. There's a very narrow line to walk between managing to keep it simple enough for young kids to be able to figure out while still being difficult enough to keep adults engaged. And it's—
the problem, again, with me in this game is, like, the completionist shit. I don't know when I became a weirdo completionist. I don't know when I became, like, a weirdo person who needs to get all of the fucking coins in a level or whatever, but now I'm... the puzzles in this game are baby easy, but then when you try to get all of the fucking diamonds or whatever, it becomes kind of... that's when it becomes kind of just tedious more than anything. I think that's my problem with it, is that somewhere along the line I decided I need to have all of these useless objects in this video game. And... and so that's my problem with it. It's not anything with the game. I'm sure if I just didn't do that, it would be fine.
Strikes that balance absolutely perfectly. Of course, not every level is a gym, and there's the occasional dud, but I'd say that 95% of the levels are really well designed, challenging, and fun to play. I was a little worried about how some of the gameplay-specific mechanics would be implemented on the Switch, but I'm happy to say that you'd never be able to tell it was originally a Wii U title with how seamless this port is. And
there's also the 3DS version, which is a real shame. That's the other thing with this game. I tried playing it on the 3DS because they made one, and like this looks like it should be a 3DS game. The whole style of it is like, it feels like it should be a 3DS game, but then you play it on the 3DS and it's like, it looks like fucking shit, and I don't know, it's not substantially better with a 3D effect on. So, I don't know, it feels like there's no real home console for this thing to really be at home on. I guess the Wii U? I don't know.
1001 thank yous for making the Mummy Me Maze Forever not borderline impossible on the Switch. This thing was the stuff nightmares are made of on the Wii U. Overall,
yeah, I bought it. I totally bought the 3DS version. Absolutely. That's right.
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is an incredible puzzle game for audiences young.
Speaking of buying games for anyone who's interested in learning Japanese, Final Fantasy IV has a 3DS Virtual Console Japanese version. All of the text seems to be in like kana, hiragana, katakana, no kanji. So it's that's a good one. I don't know if all of the like SNES era JRPGs are like that, but seems to be a good one to, like, you know, slowly play along with as you meticulously translate every word in every single text box, which is surely a great way to learn things. Surely.
And old.
So, yeah, the Captain Toad game, it's apparently pretty good. I mean, it's good. I've played it, you know, and it's fine. It's a little boring, but it's just such a strange choice. I mean, I don't know. Even if it was like a game I really liked, I feel like I would be... It's a weird one. I mean, of Nintendo games alone, there are so many other ones that could be number 9. What's number 8? Well... Yeah, this had to happen. On a list like this... He had Gone Home on there. It wasn't gonna be for nothing.
You know something? Somehow, against all odds, I managed to stay 100%
On the
this game for 3 years.
please!
Exceptions being revealed to happen.
Please, the songs on the dial, Bignon, why? Why do not play the on the dial, Bignon, please?
the internet in 2015, I was completely
The Go
characters and gameplay, and I am so happy.
We are so close to Yick #1, people. Yick #1, it's gonna happen.
I managed to stay.
It's gonna happen
until the day I finally sat down to see what all the hype was about, because I was absolutely floored by Undertale. Usually,
yeah, Undertale's cool. It's a great game. Why are you showing strikers?
with story-driven games, there's at least one character.
Very strange random shot of Persona 5 Strikers, not original Persona 5, but the sequel, like Musou game. Very strange that that's just in there. Alright.
That I just absolutely despise with a fiery passion. I don't know if you've been able to tell that given my recent playthroughs. But with Undertale, I didn't hate any of the characters. It's an all-star cast where everyone gets their time in the spotlight with substantive development all on their own, and then their arcs finally get—
You really didn't hate any of the characters, even though this game is like nearly a decade old and a lot of the dialogue doesn't fucking age well. There are entire characters in this game who are just awful memes from a decade ago. I mean, I stand up for Undertale in a way that's kind of weird for me to do so, considering what a cantankerous fucking, like, you know, I'm usually very cynical and I'm not into things like this, but Undertale's legit. It's a good game. It's a very good game. It has a great soundtrack. However, you mean to tell me that, like, the fucking doggo characters, they're not annoying to you? None of that? Okay, well, maybe you grew up with it or whatever, so, you know, you're used to it, I guess, but there's some of that that's real fucking annoying.
It's a crossover with each other in the game's final act.
Some of that was already annoying.
Was gripping and emotionally moving. The gameplay offered a creative battle method where you have to figure out the right series of moves to be able to spare them alongside fast-paced, tense bullet hell sections, and the characters were all endearing even when they were actively trying to kill you. Sans' boss battle still stands to this day as the most satisfying gaming achievement I've ever had, alongside the likes of the Perfect Run, and managing to conquer Escharum and the Harbinger on—
Nobody cares about your terrible Halo game, dude. Play one of the— it's just so odd, because it's like you could be— I can already guess. I assume Halo Infinite is gonna be on this fucking list, right? Like, we have to assume he's gonna put the shitty new Halo that no one cares about on the list. He's basically like Bane. It's a new thing with Halo in it, so I have to like it. I'm mandatorily obligated to like it, I guess. But, I mean, even Bane's not that bad. I don't think he'd put this on— He put this ahead of, like, any of the other Halos. He won't talk about any of the normal Halos that real people play. Any of the fucking Bungie ones that were actually good. He exclusively keeps bringing up this shitty new one. It's so fucking weird. It's not even like he happens to also like the new one, as well as Halo 3 or whatever. No, it seems like he doesn't care about the whole rest of the fucking series and only likes the terrible new one.
Legendary on my first try. Yes, I'm going to ride that high forever, get over it. If by some miracle you've avoided spoilers for this game for over 6 years, it's a no-brainer.
Okay, Undertale, it's a fine pick. You're at number 8. That's, okay, great. Yick sweep, people. Yick sweep. God damn it. It's just another fucking story jabroni game. The story and the characters are so deep and great!
See, this is where my only one game per series thing is really biting me in the ass, because I so desperately just want to put the entire Walking Dead Telltale series in this slot to encapsulate Clementine's entire journey from start to finish. But I'm sticking to my guns, and after a significant amount of—
A lot of people like these games. I'm sure they're fine.
time spent contemplating this point—
It's the worst thing I can say about something that I see on one of these lists is a lot of people like it. I'm sure it's fine. That's basically me saying this looks like a pile of shit and I've never ever been interested and I would literally never ever play it. But for fucking some reason people won't shut the fuck up about this stupid fucking series. The fucking comics don't look interesting. The show looks like shit. The game looks fucking stupid. I don't give a shit. I just will never give a shit. That's what I mean when I say it looks fine. I'm sure people like it. That's what I mean.
I've decided to nominate the final season because it was the final step of Clementine's almost decade-long journey over the course of these games, where her story had come full circle and she was all grown up, having come so far.
I'm sure the story and the characters are super great. Awesome. Cool. Awesome. That's great. That's so cool. Come on now. Oh, finally a real video game for real gamer. Okay, but he's picking the second one, though. Even when he picks a normal fucking choice, it's weird! Like, okay, Galaxy 2 is pretty good, there's some good levels, but like, come on, though. You care so much about story and fucking all of that. Shouldn't you give more of a shit that 2 is just a fucking level pack, basically? It has none of the charm and any of that. Like, the first game has like a whole narrative, and you go into space, and there's like all of that going on. And then the second one, it's just, hey, let's do more! And it's just a bunch of levels. The levels are better! So, I mean, it's just very strange of a pick for him, because it's like, gameplay-wise, I think Galaxy 2 is considered to be better, but, like, the fucking, I don't know, story-wise, atmosphere, that seems to be the kind of shit he cares a lot about, and he's still putting this ahead of the first one. Okay. I mean, obviously the real pick is Sunshine, but I don't expect this guy to have fucking taste, so whatever. Reminder that 64 is one of the worst things he's ever played, by the way. That's on his worst of all time list.
Out of this world adventure in every way imaginable. It takes everything that made the first game great and makes it even better. It features the
We are so close to Yick, people. We're at number 6. Yick could be top 5.
same creative, gravity-centric platforming and same tight movement and controls, and just gives you the same phenomenal base system but with better level design and more toys to play around with, from things as simple as new power-ups to the addition of Yoshi as a player.
You gotta mention Yoshi. Gotta clap. Gotta clap for Yoshi. Gotta clap for Yoshi. I know what that is.
Playable character, who also has his own set of unique power-ups to equip. It's a proper expansion of the first game that doesn't make any unnecessary tweaks to the formula that the first game excelled with, alongside great quality of life improvements. To list just a few of them, the game actually announces when a Praxis comet flies in instead of forcing you to go check the board to see if anything popped up, as well as not forcing you to immediately complete them, as well as not actually disappearing if you don't do it immediately. You don't have to wait until the end of the game to play as Luigi. You get a better sense of progress by flying through an actual world map that
again, very odd to me, because it's just like, if the whole list was more gameplay focused, then it would make sense for me to see him put one game per series too. And I mean, like, Captain Toad, I guess, doesn't count. That's like a spin-off, sure. Mario Kart also, though, you're one game per series, but you've got 3 different Mario games on the list here so far. And the mainline one you pick, I mean, again, dude really loves story and narratives and fucking walking simulators. I would think if anyone would pick Sunshine, it would be this guy. That's the whole thing Sunshine has fucking going for it. And Galaxy. But Galaxy sucks, though. But Sunshine, you know, and Galaxy, they both have the whole thing where it's like you're contextualized in, like, space or in a level, you know, you're in an island. And, like, there's an atmosphere, and there's, like, a plot to it. It's not, like, a super deep plot, but I don't think that matters to this guy. But, like, he loves all these narrative games, but then the one he picks is the one that's, like, the least narrative-y, basically. I mean, it's the most focused on just being a bunch of fucking levels. It's basically just more of Galaxy. That's it. And it's a normal pick for anyone but this guy. Very odd. I mean, even when he picks one that's normal, it's somehow still insane.
Changes with each new world as opposed to being stuck in a combat.
Right, yeah, he loves it. Great, good game, sure, alright.
Game keep me from selling my Wii U, which is some pretty damn high praise.
Well, yeah, you didn't sell your Wii U because of this game? Well, you know, probably deserved it. I mean, you probably still had a Wii, so I don't know if you needed to hang on to that, though.
Alright, I admit it. I only bought this game initially because of the art style. I knew...
Okay, I guess a lot of people like it. It's fine. I guess people... I mean, I'm imagining, like, what I would see on... I think other people might put this on a best games list, sure. People really... This is a pretty unique game. This one's fair, I guess. It's still odd for him, though, because it's basically got no story, and... It's, like, notoriously pretty hard as well. And he doesn't seem like he likes games with a lot of gameplay, and he prefers stuff to be like baby easy, like the Toad game. It's a very strange pick, but this one's fair, sure.
Absolutely nothing about Cuphead going into it, but I was just so mesmerized
by
by the visuals.
God, we're getting so close, dude. The next one better be Yick. I mean, no, number one better be Yick.
Down to play just about anything to see what it was going to be. It goes without saying that the superficial elements are outstanding. Not just the art style itself, the graphical detail and color palette for the characters and environments, as well as the fluid, bouncy animations, all...
I hate Cuphead, though, because it's... I guess it's just basically a boss rush, but for whatever reason, it's got like 2 or 3 like video game levels that are like a Contra game or something. I don't know why it couldn't have more of those. That's the thing that I liked about Cuphead when I played it. And then it just became like an infinite boss rush, and it's like, I don't know why there's like 3 fucking levels in this game. And there's just like 40 bosses. I guess those are the good part, but I feels like it would be pretty easy to put together more levels. The bosses feel like the hard part to animate, so it's like, what? I don't know. I would have liked it if it was balanced a little bit more. But hey, you know, it's a real game. It's a real pick. This one's fine. I'm not seeing much to complain about in this one, you know?
Sell the world, and the music is just as good as the art. But if that was all the game had going for it, I wouldn't have it in my top 5 games of all time. Cuphead is genuinely a ton of fun to play.
I mean, I don't know how it was sold. I guess it was always supposed to just be boss rush. I don't know why you'd want that, though. I guess people do, so that's fine. But it's just, man, there's like a couple of levels that are like, man, I wish the whole game was this. Why the fuck are there even like a few of these? Why is that? It's weird that it's not all boss rush or more levels. It's weird that it's like a couple of levels and mostly boss rush. That's very strange. It's a very odd game.
With the exception of a few of the run and gun levels, all the bosses are exceptionally well designed in that every one of their attacks is something that can be
people didn't even like the fucking run and gun level. What the fuck are you talking about? Those are the good parts.
Learned and accounted for. There was a point in the game's history where Rumor, Honeybottom's minions and projectiles could kill you off screen, but ever since that was
whatever, alright, Cuphead, it's fine.
That's the balancing
of
the
good game, sure. Give me your next one. Is it Yick?
I am
Are we
thrilled
yicking
that
out?
we're now months away from finally getting more of this game.
Wasn't the Cuphead show really bad? People didn't like the Cuphead show, I remember. It was like made in Flash. Oh, that almost sounded like Yick music for a second. Alright, Ace Attorney, sure, fits in with the things he likes. It's fine series, sure. Oh, lay it on me. We all know what it's gonna be. Halo 3. He picked the real Halo game?! Why wouldn't he shut the fuck up about Infinite then? Why wouldn't he shut up about Infinite? Every time he mentions Halo in this video, even times that have nothing to do with Halo, he brings up Infinite. He shows gameplay of Infinite. Why? No one fucking played it or liked it. And now you're giving me Halo 3. You're giving me a real choice. Again, the list is shoring up in the last quarter. It's finally starting. We might not even get Yick. The list is becoming less insane. We might not get Yick.
I came very, very close to placing Infinite in this.
Yeah, I know you did, you fucking retard. Anyways.
The fact that it was even in contention at all is commendable.
I knew it would still be funny. I knew he would somehow still make this entry funny. Well, even though it was Halo 3, even though it's like, yeah, it's a good game, everyone likes Halo 3, it's a lot of people's favorite game ever. I knew he would somehow make it funny, and he did. He won't shut up about Infinite. He won't fucking shut up about Infinite. I don't get it. Maybe there's more to the story that I missed, but is it not just another 343 game where they set up another new fucking precursor villain or some shit? Some new villain that is new villains that's gonna be super angry in the next one. I don't know. I think that's what I heard the story was. But, I mean, story-wise, I don't know. I just know that I eventually got really bored really quickly when, like, the first couple missions were like, hey, go fucking drive to this place and, like, hit all of the buttons. Okay, now go drive to another place and hit all of the buttons. And it was like, wow, remember when we had levels? Remember when we had set pieces and real games? Remember when we had real Halo games and it wasn't just go drive to this place and do some shit, and then maybe you'll get a cutscene if we fucking feel like it? That was what Infinite was. So I don't know, maybe there's like a story buried in that terrible game somewhere, but he really loves it. He really loves it, such that he won't shut up about it even when he's talking about 3.
Especially given the efforts it takes to fix
Yick
the mistakes of the
sweep!
past, both in
Yick
terms
sweep!
of story and gameplay, which may or may not be a video in and of itself currently in production. And the fact that Infinite's cutscenes are among the best and most emotionally powerful of the entire series. But at the end of the day, I don't think anything is ever truly going to be able to dethrone Halo 3.
I might be a stupid, insane fucking psychopath, but... you know, at least I have some fucking sense once in a while.
Level design is completely
I
open.
mean, you would have gone with 2 if you had sense, but people have problems with 2.
And with endless ways to approach every encounter. Each one stands out with unique gameplay opportunities and visual theming. The weapon sandbox is pure perfection, where every weapon has its
Halo
uses.
3 is such a perfect, like, third game in a series, though. Because, like, or third anything in a series, because it's not perfect. It's like any trilogy that ends with a third one that's just kinda alright. Halo 3 is really good in gameplay-wise, but, like, I remember the story. You know, it mostly concludes. There's a few things that are like, oh, that's what they do with her? Oh, okay. I guess this just happens? Alright, wow, they wrapped that up really quick. Alright. It's like an Empire, it's like a Return of the Jedi or something. It's just kinda like a... oh yeah, I guess that's the ending. Okay. Alright. I mean, again, gameplay-wise, it's good, but just you know, it's so much better than what we get now, where they can't even get a fucking single new Halo game to happen. But, like, back then, it's like, it's the classic third entry in a thing, where the first one was amazing, the second one was, in a lot of ways, even better, but also kind of fucking bursting at the seams with its own promise, and then the third one is just kind of a little bit of a letdown sometimes, but mostly pretty good. I mean, I don't know, for what you want in a Halo game, for the most part, they got it. You know, multiplayer and everything, but I just remember the story is like, oh, we're just done. Oh, okay, it's over. All right then. Okay then.
And can be used effectively for certain situations. And equipment is the best fourth pillar to the golden triangle that's ever been added, where every single piece has their strengths and weaknesses and can be used in an infinite number of ways. They aren't so ultra specific in the—
what's the bad take? The story just kind of wraps up. I mean, I like the stuff with the chief at the end, but like, what's her name? The human lady? Shit just kind of happens with her. They just kind of wrap up the shit with the villains. I don't know. People just die for kind of no reason. It's kind of a bunch of shit. The ending of Halo 3 is just kind of like a bunch of shit happens, and some of it's pretty good. I don't know. I prefer Halo 2 that just ends and it's not even fucking finished. You know, because then you have like some question about where it's to go. In Halo 3, it's like, oh, well, now I know it's just leading into fucking Halo 4, sadly. They didn't write it that way, but, you know, it just kind of ruins things a little bit when you know, oh, this is all in service of Halo 4. That's great.
Their functionality that
So
there's
cool.
only ever one way to use them. And I still think of new ways to make these things work every time I play through it. They're extremely
Okay,
versatile.
Halo 3 is a good game. Thank you for putting something normal and not insane on your list. I mean, it would have been way funnier if you had put... He won't shut up about Infinite. We're back to talking about Infinite at the end here. Once again with Infinite.
But nothing will ever take away from how beautiful a conclusion this was for those first 3 games, and how emotionally satisfying it was to finish this.
I mean, like, it's so weird, too, because there's no consistency here, because, like I was saying before, this guy seems like the type of person who's very, like, I played this 20 years ago, so it's my favorite. You know, this is the best because I grew up with it, that kind of thing. But, I mean... why do you like this shitty new Halo so much, then? You shouldn't feel that way, right? No, he's all over the place. There's some new things that he has no right to like, but does. And then there's older things that are like, come on, man. Come on, man. You know, I don't know. He complains about Mario 64. I can't get over that. All of the entries on this list that are the best games ever. Mario 64, one of the worst.
Right.
Halo Infinite, almost one of the best games ever. Mario 64, worst. Now, are we gonna yick? Are we yicking? There's no way it's gonna be number 1. Okay, this is a very strange pick for number 2. Again, another odd pick. It's a good game. For those that don't know, this is a very famous licensed game. This stands heads and fucking tails above, like, the Over the Hedge game, or Shrek 2, or whatever. This is, like, one of the holy grail licensed games. That's like the Spider-Man 2 licensed game or something. So this is it's a very good game for what it is. A lot of people have kind of soured on it and been like, well, it's not as good as Mario. It's like, well, it's a SpongeBob game. So yeah, it's like a 7 out of 10 maybe. It's not like a 10. It felt like it back in the day, I mean, compared to other games like this. But a number 2 spot is fucking weird for this. I mean, I was thinking before, like, what's a game that I would agree with as, like, really liking it, but it shouldn't be on a list like this. It's this. I mean, maybe, like, number 20. Number 2, though? For this, I love this game. This is a fantastic game. It's great. It's a wonderful game. Very underrated, even though a lot of people won't shut up about it somehow. Somehow it's still underrated. And they made a remake, even. They never make remakes of licensed games. They made a remake of this one. And a sequel to the remake. Like a spiritual sequel that never was. Even though there kind of were sequels. But they were all bad. But like number 2, though. Really.
The best
better than Persona 5.
Which might sound like a hard statement to take seriously.
Better than Mario 64 by a damn sight. Because that was on his worst games list.
You know, a SpongeBob
better than Galaxy 2, even.
That doesn't prevent it from having the tightest controls and best level design across the entire genre.
The entire genre. He's got a Mario game on this list.
Massive open-world environments that are a blast to explore and reward exploration with many spatulas off the beaten path for you to find. It's got music that perfectly encapsulates the atmosphere of the area you're exploring. And
it's a very good game. Why is it number 2, though? It's so strange. I have nostalgia out the ass for this one, and I've played it since then, and it's still good. It's still really good. It's a really great 3D platformer GameCube era game. Open world kind of, you know, Banjo-Kazooie-ish kind of game. I mean, not open world, but like open levels, you know, that kind of thing. It's great. Number 2, though, he's saying things about it like it controls better than a Mario game. I mean,
goes way harder than it has any right to in some instances.
Really? The game does have a good soundtrack, but your example of good soundtrack is very boring. What are you doing? It's just da-da! That's the song. This is his example of good soundtrack in this game.
Like, could you tell me that was from a SpongeBob game if you didn't know any better?
No, I would have assumed it was from a generic trailer for something. That's a little better now.
And of course, the controls are literal perfection. The fluidity and responsiveness of every character's movement is unmatched by anything I've ever played. The camera is
very extremely high praise. The highest possible praise. Actually, I just can't believe it. I mean, it's pretty good. I think his bias might be like a little bit. It might be a little biased because nobody expects a game like this to be as good as it is, but it's not that good. It's not that good. Come on. Come on!
At all times, and it's just as responsive and intuitive as the basic movement controls. And that is the core of what makes this game so much fun to play. Immaculately refined controls both in terms of character movement and camera movement that permeates all 3 main playable characters.
Yeah, he's playing the one really good one in the background. The da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That fucking, this fucking skibbity blues that they play throughout that game. That one's good. That one's good. You played that, like, shitty, like, orchestral piece. It was super generic. You're trying to tell me the soundtrack is good. You've got one in the background that I remember specifically, and you didn't show that one off. But the generic action score at the end, come on.
I'm thrilled beyond belief that we got Rehydrated in 2020 because it was able to bring even more attention to such a masterpiece of game design, having been met with such overwhelming praise and giving it a faithful remake after years of wondering if we'd ever get something of this scale. That it's
Yeah, it's good.
finally getting the spiritual successor
Oh my god, oh.
it always deserved.
Oh, you did not mix that properly, sir.
And now, for our champion, the game
Number 1, everybody. Even better than SpongeBob game. Here comes number 1.
you already knew was going to be in the top slot from the moment you clicked on this video, but one whose praises I'll never pass up the opportunity to
I don't watch your channel religiously, dude. It's not gonna be Yik. Yik's not happening. It's a shame. I wonder what he thinks of Yik, because he has played Persona, and Yik is basically shitty Western Persona made by Redditors. Plagiarist Redditors, no less. Shitty Western Persona with featuring and made by Redditors. That was the thing too, was that it was supposedly this thing of like the character in Yik was not supposed to represent the guy who made it. Everybody assumes that it did though. And then the way he reacted to the criticism kind of just made people further assume that they were right and that he was actually meant to be representing the main character was supposed to. I think they were going for a thing where the main character is an unlikable guy in Yik, but it was just such a shit show. The reaction to that, and yeah, they're making a sequel. I don't think Yik's gonna be on here, but I would love to know what he thinks about Yik. He might like it. He might like it.
thing.
No way it's Yik. No, it's Dragon Slayer 3D. Yeah, I mean, I'm very shocked. This is, again, just such an odd list. Just such an incredibly odd list. There's no rhyme or reason. There's some games, like this one is a pretty good game. This is his number 1 favorite game ever. I was shocked when I played this and I realized that it was pretty good. It is.
From November of 2020.
It's a
that
real-
video is my proudest creation, and
It's a good platformer. It's got some action. It's not just a shitty QTE. I mean, Dragon Slayer 1, it's unfair to call it a QTE, the original Dragon Slayer. It was just like it was a visual experience that was new at the time. It was an interactive video experience that could be sort of played, but it wasn't really a video game. This is a cool game. This is an actual video game that's good, and I've played a bit of it. I think it was like last year. Yeah, like early last year, I think I was playing a bit of this, and it was pretty good. Number 1 of all time. I mean, the stuff that he's put this ahead of, it's wild. Ahead of Halo, ahead of Mario, ahead of the Battle for Bikini Bottom game, the SpongeBob game. Ahead of all those walking simulators, even, is this one. Wild.
best analytical work I've made on this channel to date. For as much of a cop-out as it may be, if you really want to know why I love this game as much as I do, and why it's so objectively well-designed, your best option is to watch that video. But I'll run down the quick version here. The story is subversive, engaging, and satisfying. The music is orgasmic.
Subversive story in Dragon's Lair. Really? Okay.
The atmosphere is immaculate and still looks beautiful 2 decades later. The core
I don't know about that. It's aged pretty well. It's not as good as like a Wind Waker, but they do have kind of that sort of style a little bit.
gameplay has perfect difficulty escalation that rewards exploration but doesn't necessitate
I mean, the problem with this guy is that a lot of what he's saying about this game is not wrong. It's a good game. It's a real underappreciated gem, even. And I think a lot of people would not play it because they know what Dragon's Lair is, and they're like, I don't need to play that, that's not my thing. And it's like, no, play this one, it's nothing like that, I promise. But also, I just can't listen to anything he says seriously, so it's like, yeah, you think that the SpongeBob game is the best platformer ever made. So I just, whatever, you put the Over the Hedge game on here, dude. You were basically just reading the back of the box for the Over the Hedge video game. So when you start telling me all about the fucking features of this one, I almost assume that you're wrong.
Swordplay and crossbow combat are both immensely fun to use. The essences all have a distinct and important role.
I would not say that. The game is very clunky. The game has very clunky controls. It's a 2003 fucking Xbox game or whatever. It's not immensely fun to fucking use the sword play. It's basically, once you get a hang of it, it's just mashing a button. It's not immensely fucking satisfying
to play. And
the guy's really overhyping it, like putting it #1 of your favorite games ever. This is shit. Nobody should play this and think that this is the best game ever made. Because that's not gonna be what you get. It's pretty good, and you're gonna be really underwhelmed based on the fucking what he's saying in this.
Are masterpieces of design, whether they're linear or open-ended. It is an absolutely outstanding video game that goes above and beyond in every fundamental aspect of game design and storytelling, and one that gets absolutely no attention from the gaming community at large, which is a crime. If you want to know more, go watch my video about this game, and hopefully it will convince you to play it for yourself.
Apparently he has a Sonic Heroes stream where he screams at his chat. That sounds pretty good. Well, yeah, that's his best games list. A very and thoroughly weird list filled with shit I don't understand. He's got real games on there that, like, very odd. He's got, it's a very strange list. He's got real stuff that feels like it could be on a list like that, but it makes no sense because it's on his list. He's got insane choices that feel like they shouldn't be on a list like that. And, yeah, I just don't know what to say. So he's got commentaries for all the Home Alone movies, especially the really cool good ones that came out after Macaulay Culkin.